you might be trying too hard in your clarinet playing, or at least trying in the wrong way. My name is Josh Gu, and after years of studying the clarinet with some of the best teachers from around the world, I am excited to be sharing my knowledge with you. So go to QuickStartClarinet.com or check the description on this video to see all of the wonderful resources I have to help you reach your clarinet dreams. And of course, subscribe to this channel for weekly clarinet and music tips and tricks. This is something I've been noticing and thinking about in my own playing and definitely in my students' playing as well. And the other day I actually came across a term for it, and it made so much sense when applied to clarinet playing. And that term is the backwards law, or the law of reverse effort. The backwards law is a term that was sort of coined by Alan Watts in the 1900s, but it goes back many years ago to sort of the basis of Taoism in Chinese text. But what it says is that, like, the harder you try to achieve something, the harder it is to get it. You can think of this as like holding your breath is a common analogy used for this. Is the more you hold your breath, the less breath you have, and the more you run out of breath. And the harder you try to hold your breath, the quicker it runs out. I saw a video of the world record for longest breath hold, and it was like 24 minutes or something insane. And he's just laying in the pool, so perfectly still, perfectly relaxed, it almost looks like he's asleep. And that's how he was able to hold on to the breath, because he wasn't working at it. And if you try to hold on to your breath and you try really hard, you're going to run out of breath much faster. And if you just breathe normally and relax and let it go, then you'll never run out of breath. So that's sort of what the backwards law is about. Now, how does this apply to clarinet? Well, I've had this idea that I've sort of been playing with, and I think it's true, that there's sort of 3 different levels of sound quality and getting notes to come out, as far as how reliably you're going to be able to make big leaps, or how reliably you're going to be able to start notes, and things like that. And there's sort of the beginner level, where just nothing works well. Crossing the break is tricky, notes don't come out reliably, playing at different dynamics is really challenging, and that's sort of where you start out at. Then eventually you move up to the intermediate level, where you start to get notes to come out more consistently. Maybe sometimes there's still issues where they don't come out, but part of what's helping you to get the notes to come out well is you sort of know how to aim at every single note, and you know that over the break the B is going to have a little bit more resistance, so you're ready for that little more resistance. You're not tightening up the embouchure too much, and you're giving that air support that it needs to get out. Same thing with like the altissimo notes. Maybe you know like more where the tongue position needs to be to aim at those notes. You know what the air needs to feel like on those notes, and you're starting to get it. But at that intermediate level, and I'd say most people are here, like very beginners are at the beginner level, and like very advanced players are at the top level. Even for myself, I feel like I get to that top level more and more nowadays, but it's still not all the time, not 100% of the time. So this intermediate level is like a huge encompassing population of clarinetists, and it's where you're trying to get every note to sound its best. You feel like you're shifting and adjusting and trying to control every single note as it comes out. And you can see when it comes to the backwards law, like I said, that's where you might be getting into trouble, is you're trying to control every single note, you're crossing the break and putting in that more support, you're going into the altissimo and adjusting your tongue position and air pressure and all of that stuff. And it works, the notes come out, but it takes a lot of effort, and it's still pretty inconsistent, because the more you're shifting and adjusting, the easier it is to over-adjust one of those variables and find yourself in trouble. So what the backwards law does is says you have to let go of it to get the results you want. So when you're leaping into the altissimo, instead of trying to get the altissimo note to come out and thinking, oh, this note's tricky to get out, so I gotta do something extra to get it to work, it's actually when you let go of that it comes out naturally and easily. And this is sort of the top level of playing and note response, that advanced level, where it feels like you're just playing and blowing and everything comes out easily and the way that you want. It almost feels like you're sort of one with the vibrations of the reed and one with the sound of the clarinet, and you're making it so it's just steady and stable. You wiggle the fingers and the note comes out. And I don't know if you've ever experienced this before. I find this too when it's a good reed. It feels like this is much more achievable, where it's just easy and the notes are coming out really easily. But it can happen at any time, and sometimes it's just a fleeting thing that happens for a moment. I find when I've done good warm-ups and really worked on this stuff in the warm-ups that it makes a big difference and really helps. But it's just one of those things that every now and then it just feels like you're one with the instrument, and no matter where you put it, what you ask it to play, what dynamics, it's just like everything comes out easily. And I think it's because of that backwards law, where you're not trying to force anything, you're not thinking, oh, this is a hard interval, so I got to do something special here. It's just let it go, keep the reed vibrating, move the fingers precisely, and that's all it takes. Now, how do you actually get this? So I know it's like letting go is the way to get it, but I feel like I have to give you some tips to start working towards it and sort of the secret behind it. And I definitely think the secret is to let go and not panic. But I think the mechanics of what's actually helping that to happen is the air is just so abundant and strong and there, and the support and the embouchure is so stable that the reed is vibrating at its most resonant, most vibrating that it can be. And that's what allows those smooth transitions between things, is when you really maximize the vibrations of the reed and the resonance of the reed and the mouthpiece. That's when you get good support going through the instrument, and then the instrument's really responsive because there's that maximum support and maximum sort of core to the sound. So basically, the answer and the secret to having that advanced level of playing where you become one with the instrument and everything is easy is just more air. The classic answer always, right? Just use more air. But there's a reason why every teacher says it all the time. Use more air, more air, and the goal of more air, more reed vibrations, more support and core into the instrument, and then you can get the sound that you want, and that highest tier of playing where just everything is coming out effortlessly and easily, and using that backwards law of not trying to make the tricky interval work, but letting go, keeping the support going, and trusting that it's going to happen. So give this a try in your practice. Let me know how it goes for you. I would love to hear your thoughts on this in the comments below. I think this is a really good idea, so if you can implement it and incorporate it and just let it go. Again, it's a great idea for all of life. The harder you try, the more resistance you're going to find. So let it go and give that a try next time you come across a tricky interval or something like that. Just keep the reed vibrating, coordinate the fingers precisely, and I bet you'll have more success with it. So thanks for watching this video. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel, all of that good stuff. And I look forward to seeing you in another video. And last but not least, a huge heartfelt thank you to the Dennersons. This is like the QuickStart Clarinet family who supports the channel and helps to make everything that I do possible. If you would like to support the channel and get some awesome rewards in return where we can work one-on-one over video and you can have my full support moving forward on your clarinet journey, then go to quickstartclarinet.com/supporter.